try to get this straight. I actually think I got this in the wrong spot here. Move this right here. Okie dokie. I just have all these sweatshirts here, so I want to move these here. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, there it is. I think I'm kind of set up here. I hope that I am. So let me just see what these are over here. These are larges. Are all these larges? Those are all larges. Okay, so here's the larges here. So that's the large. I think that all the large are sold. I think if I go, how you guys doing? How's everybody doing today? Today's sweatshirts and t-shirts are in. Thanks you guys for coming by. I appreciate it. I do have the new Overturned Terry sweatshirts in. They're 60 bucks. If you live in Alaska or Hawaii, you got to pay a little bit more for shipping. How's everybody doing? Amara, I'm sorry, I pronounced her name improperly. Omira. Is that right, Omira? Am I saying your name properly? I think I am, but because this is your small t-shirt right here, Omir. So make sure you guys hit me back. So Omira. And then there was one other person who had a small. Hey, you guys doing? How's everybody doing? So I released a pretty rough video today. Did you guys see the video I put out today? The video I put out today was pretty rough. The video I put out today was pretty rough. Omira. What's up, friends? How's everybody doing? Cool, cool, cool. So I don't think I have, let me just be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let me see how many I have in for the large. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think one person canceled on their large. I cannot remember. I think one person canceled on their large. I can't remember. So I'm not going to have any larges. But I do have double XL. Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing? I have all the sweatshirts are extra large. They're size extra large. These are all brand new. Mine on the back of it says Constitutional Law Scholar. Yours does not. Yours does not. How's everybody doing? So I guess we should address the video that I put out today a little bit. We should talk about that video a little bit before we get into the sweatshirts and t-shirts, because this is an XL. This sweatshirt's an XL, and this is brand new. I just pulled it out of the box and put it on. I try to buy the highest end sweatshirt or t-shirt I can buy. I had to buy this in Phoenix, so I bought this here. But I try to buy, how you guys doing? I try to buy the highest end sweatshirt that you can buy. This one says Overturned Terry, ask me about it, because then that gives you an opportunity to talk about Terry versus Ohio. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? What's going on? So on this list, if you guys are Byron Crosby, David Topper, I already got you, David. You're here in Phoenix. Jody Fox, The Times is New, Brian Daniel, T. Roy, Gilbert, or Mary for the large t-shirts. You guys send me a DM or an email to DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. And let me know that you guys, some people already gave me money for t-shirts. I just need to know which ones. Hey, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Good to see everybody. So what did you guys think of the latest video? I mean, it was pretty raw, right? I was pretty aggressive, right? Archangel for Truth, how are you? I didn't mean to be, I guess, for me at that point, when I saw those cops sitting there, to me, I was already really ticked off because, the two killings in 2020, Breonna Taylor, March 13th, and then George Floyd on May 25th, it was just tough. It was tough. So when George Floyd was killed May 25th, and then we had all those protests, I went down to the protests. I went down to the anti-masks rallies, so it was all Trumpers, and then I went to the George Floyd protests. And the hard part was how the cops treated us at the protests. That was the hard part, was how the police treated us at the protests. They did something called kettling, where they locked us into systems of non-escape. And then, look, I have green eyes and white skin, and I have an innate ability to to show my personality, my A personality, and not to be dominated by somebody because I am a constitutional law scholar. I mean, this is you know this is what I know. I know constitutional law. I know it inside and out. And so for me, I can't be arrested like other people were arrested. Omira, your t-shirt is right here. Your small is right here, Omira. I'll ship your t-shirt. Omira, send me a reminder with your address. Just give me new information. If anybody ordered a t-shirt last time, send me your information right now, especially if you already gave me money. If you gave me money for a t-shirt already, hit me on that, hit a screenshot of your thing and send it to me so I can ship your t-shirt tomorrow. I want to ship these t-shirts tomorrow. I don't want any t-shirts in stock. I don't want any t-shirts in stock. I'm not a t-shirt salesman. All right, that's not what I do. I spend most of my time reading case law. I spend most of my time researching what the hell is going on in this country. So I'm not a t-shirt salesman. It's not my job, you know. So Omira, please send me your address, your information. Omira, you already sent me money for your t-shirt. So this is what your t-shirt looks like, Omira. It's just a sweatshirt form. So this is going to come out to you tomorrow. Omira, I know you already paid me through PayPal or Cash App or Venmo, however you paid me. So, no, I don't feel bad about telling the cops how I feel. I feel bad that there are people who have not been arrested, who have not been to the dungeon, who have not been charged with multiple crimes. Rob, did you get a t-shirt from me? Send me your information, Rob. Send me your information, okay? If you already, especially if you already paid me for a t-shirt, please send me your information. I have the t-shirts in now. I do have double XL. Yes, I do have double XL. So I have, yeah, I've got a bunch of double XL. I have a dozen or 2 dozen double XL t-shirts. So this is Omira's. This is Omira's. I got your t-shirt here, Omira. And then on the double XLs, I have, this is how many double XLs I have in. This is how many double XL I have. So I think I have 2 dozen double XL. If you want a double XL t-shirt, get it from me as soon as you possibly can. Get the double XL from me as soon as you can. Contact me through my website. I'll send you my Payapps. These are the double XLs. I have them in stock right now. Well, I put an orange tag on it, then I put your name on it, and then I ship it to you. I am not a good t-shirt salesman, okay? Don't get upset with me because I'm not a good t-shirt salesman. But some people have already paid me money for the larges. I sold all the larges, but some people paid me money, some people didn't. Get with me now if you're seeing this and send me your address, especially if you already paid me for a t-shirt. I got double XL, and then I have a dozen of these XLs in that say Overturn Terry on the front of them. So if you want one of these sweatshirts, you have to email me right away. Right away. You got to email me right away. Don't wait. DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. DeleteLawZ with a Z @gmail.com. You got to email me right away if you want a double XL t-shirt, if you want a an XL sweatshirt. And then I have, yeah, those are the double XL. Yeah, I've got a bunch of double XL t-shirts in. Are they all double XL? Are those all To be honest with you, I really hate doing this, but I have to spread this brand as far as we possibly can. So that's why I do it. I hate selling t-shirts. I really hate it. I don't want to be, negative Nancy, because I do make 20 bucks. So thanks for helping me make 20 bucks. But at the same time, it is just, I really just hate doing it. I hate, oh, these are XLs. So I've got a dozen, I've got 2 dozen XL. I have 2 dozen XL t-shirts in. Yeah. So these are the XL. I got 2 dozen XL. If you're a size XL, I have 2 dozen in. I have 2 dozen XL. And if you ordered a large t-shirt from me and you already paid me, make sure you contact me because I have your large in stock now. And then I have double XL. And then I have double XL, and I've got a dozen XL sweatshirts in. I have a dozen of these in. This is absolutely my favorite thing now. By the way, this is my favorite thing. And then the next thing I'm going to do is hats that say Overturn Terry across the hat. So let's talk a little bit about that audit that I did on those 2 cops. It wasn't really much of an audit. It was more me walking up to them and saying to them exactly what I feel, how I feel, right? And the reason why I feel that way specifically is because how I've been treated, the way I've been treated by police over and over and over and over and over and over again in this country. And it's gotten to the point now, the t-shirts are cotton heritage. Some t-shirts are cotton heritage, and the ones I have right here, this is shock aware, but I went in, this was the most expensive one they had in the Phoenix gallery. This t-shirt right here was the most expensive one I could buy. This was so typically, by the way, when you buy t-shirts and you're going to sell them, just buy the most expensive one you can. It's just the best way to do it. Just buy the best quality t-shirt they have. So this was the best quality that warehouse had, this t-shirt was. And this is called Shock Aware. I didn't even look at it. This was just the most expensive one he had, so I bought those. I only bought the best ones, so that's what I do. That's what I do. So if you guys want one, make sure you get back to me. So, after years of being, targeted in my hometown, and I only have XL hoodies in, Frank. I only have XL. I don't have a XXX hoodie in yet. I will. Remember, you guys, we're just building. We're just building this. I was 300,000 strong followers on TikTok. I was deplatformed because members of an online cult decided to call me a racist, which is crazy. But and so when I was deplatformed, I was knocked all the way down to 0 again, and now I've rebuilt here on YouTube with you guys, through Persons of Justice, people who agree that we do have a Bill of Rights, we do have a constitutional standard, and we should live up to it. We should live up to it. And so I want to talk a little bit about the way that I was able to speak to those cops in that way, and the reason why I was able to speak to that cops in that way. And you guys have to know some of these cases as we move forward. If you guys want a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, email me so I can make sure I have your size. If you've already bought a t-shirt from me, please make sure that you hit me up on an email or through my DeleteLawZ at Gmail. T-Roy, will you put that in there? DeleteLawZ at Gmail. So the way I was able to speak to those cops, the way I spoke to them, and this is just the latest case right here. It's going to be the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill. So this case right here, Houston versus Hill, this is where in the city of Houston, they had passed an ordinance, much like they're trying to do here in Arizona and they're trying to do in Oklahoma. In the 87 case of Houston versus Hill, what it said was that Mr. Hill had interrupted the Houston Police Department in their official capacity, and when it went to the Supreme Court said that the ordinance is unconstitutional. Mr. Hill has a right to interrupt police officers. He has a right to speak to police officers. He has a right to free speech, and Mr. Hill couldn't even be charged with fighting words. And in some places you can be charged with fighting words, because there's already ordinances on the books in the city of Houston that if you assault a police officer, it carries its own charges. So you can say whatever you want because there's charges if you do it. If you assault a cop, there's charges for assaulting a police officer in the city of Houston. And so that is exactly how the hoodies are 60 bucks. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, the hoodies are 60. And then if you live in Alaska or if you live in Hawaii, there may be a shipping charge of like $5 or $10 or something, but just, I don't think so. I don't mind eating the shipping charges anytime I possibly can. So the city of Houston versus Hill in 1987, that case, you can read the syllabus on oyez.org, oyez.org, and that's Houston, the city of Houston versus Hill. And when you read the case text of Houston versus Hill, when you actually get into and you read the case text right here of Houston versus Hill, what it's going to say in the case text is that Mr. Hill has the right to interfere with police officers using his voice. He has the right to speak. His voice cannot be silenced just because cops are doing their job. Do you understand? You have the right to speak to police because of this is just upholds your First Amendment right. Amazingly, the sun shines on a dog's butt once in a while. The Supreme Court got it right here and said that Mr. Hill had the right to interrupt police officers in 1987 in Texas, in City of Houston versus Hill. If you don't know this case, you should have been looking it up by now. You should be looking up City of Houston versus Hill and read the case text on casetext.com. It's called case text. That's the name of the case of where you can read it. Okay, so look, you know, and you know, I tousled with it. I tousled with that because I've had that footage since I believe July of 2020 is when I walked up to those cops sitting in their car, and I just had you know, I had been protesting for George Floyd's murder. Obviously, you know, you don't have to be a screaming liberal to watch someone get murdered and be upset about it, right? A lot of people identify me as a conservative. A lot of people who aren't conservatives will identify me as a liberal. But I certainly have some conservative roots from where I was raised. I'm pro Second Amendment all the way, but I'm also pro-choice. So if you're someone who's subscribed to the political Republican Party and I say I'm pro-choice, you might be, oh, I'm against him then. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. There are people who are with me here because they understand that the number one issue in our country is getting rid of the dungeon police state. It's number one. When you can be drug off to a dungeon and you can die and you can be killed in that dungeon, well then, you know, what's going to happen is you're going to create a group of people who have united around the idea that you going to a dungeon is a terrible, terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. So listen, I got sweatshirts and t-shirts in, guys. They won't last. They'll be gone today. So if you want a sweatshirt, it's $60. You email me at DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. DeleteLawZ with a Z. I won't have these in. They'll be gone today. I'll sell every one of them today. I've got a dozen double XL and I've got in 2 dozen XL. If you want a t-shirt, or you got to hit me right away on DeleteLawZ@gmail. If you already bought one from me, please send me an email. Remind me, hey, Chili, I bought this t-shirt from you. I sold 16 t-shirts 2 weeks ago. I have the list right here, obviously. I have the list. Some people paid me already for t-shirts. I don't know who did and who didn't. If you tell me you did, I'll send you the t-shirt. If you're that hard up, I don't care. If you bought a t-shirt from me and you already paid me, then let me know. Rob Carter, Bert Johnson, Paul DeMarcus, Rob Stevens, Perry Shogren, Jody Fox. You know, if you bought it, I do have a Sly Shy 58. I see you in here all the time. You got the other small t-shirt. That's who it was. So make sure Sly Shy send me your address. I think you send me, you guys, on your email, send me your address, your phone number, and your mailing address. Just in your email if you want a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. I haven't, typically what I do is I just sell them right here as I'm going live, but I don't want to stop what we're talking about here. But I don't want these in stock. I don't want any in stock. So please get a sweatshirt or a t-shirt from me. Hit me on email right away. The sweatshirts are $60 and I make $20. That's how much my profit is. And then the t-shirts are $35. The t-shirts are $35. So that's the, and I make $20. I make $20. So yeah. But that we have to take that on so someone just chimed in on the comments and said that Florida is going to adopt a 30-foot rule to film cops. Well, then that takes away all transparency. We don't get to see what's going on. So if you get hurt or killed or beat up or murdered or RAPED, well, then we don't get to see that happen because there's too far away to film it. They can circle their cars around so they can hide what they're doing in there. And this is a terrible, terrible government. This government is terrible. These people in government today need to be voted out. We need new people in government. We need a new third party. And I'm starting the new third party when I run for the governor of California because I'm not going to sit and watch this. I'm not going to sit and watch this. The biggest issue that commoners face is a tyrannical government that hurts the people and takes them to a dungeon. Arizona is going to try to adopt that, but I'm going to go down and talk to that guy tomorrow, John Kavanaugh. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, Rob, make sure you guys send me your information for your t-shirts and sweatshirts to DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. Yo, just get a better camera. This is an iPhone 12 Max. I do need a GoPro or something. I know that. I get it. But look, you guys, I'm selling t-shirts. This isn't a super lucrative business. This isn't like you make tons and tons of money. So I'd love to get a better camera, but it is what it is. I do have supporters who cash at me and Venmo me and stuff, and I'm super grateful for those supporters, because without the supporters, I wouldn't even be able to stand up here and sell T-shirts. So I would love to get a better camera. You know, actually in Arizona right now. So yeah. So just remember that when a cop is in a car and they're talking to you, the car that the cop is in is public property. The cop doesn't own that car that he's talking to you in. That's why yesterday when I audited the cop, when he put his window up, I knocked on his window, because it's not a crime to knock on a window. It's not a crime. The cop was done with his police stop. He had already told me, I'm done with the stop. How can I help you? Great. Now I said, can I get your name and ID? And that's HR 7711. It's called the Badge Transparency Act of 2020. So I'll be heading down to the Oregon State Police tomorrow to file a complaint, a violation of HR 7711. And if the Oregon State Patrol doesn't handle the complaint properly, then I'll file federal litigation against that cop for violating my rights, when it's a law that he has to show his badge number or identify his badge and name. And that's against the rules. And that's the whole problem with cops, is that they don't follow the same rules that you and I follow. Okay. What's going on, Tim? How you doing? Oh, is that Tim Clark? Yeah, Tim Clark. Tim C is one of my supporters. He jumps in all the time. You have no idea. Thanks, Tim, for your support. I appreciate it. I think we're supposed to have a phone call at some point today, Tim. Let me know. Maybe when we get off this live, we can have a conversation as soon as I get off here. So I got sweatshirts and T-shirts in, you guys. If you want a sweatshirt or T-shirt, send me an email right away to DeleteLawZ, DeleteLawZ @gmail.com. I only have 12 T-shirts in, or 12 sweatshirts in, XL only. That's the only size I have in. So thanks for your support. I do appreciate that. Thanks a lot. So now, yesterday I was kind of touching on it, and I want to finish it. When I walked up to the cop's car yesterday, I knocked on the window, and then you guys saw the audit I did earlier where I walked up to those cops and I was just insulting and mean. And a lot of people won't like that I was just insulting and mean to cops, because we're supposed to somehow forget that they drag people to the dungeon every day. And I don't forget that. I can't forget that. I can't forget being arrested. I can't forget being drugged to the dungeon. I can't forgive what they have done to me over and over and over again before there was a camera phone. Because before there was a camera phone, I was as indignant as I am today. And before there was a camera phone, I got arrested all the time, 20 times, for disorderly conduct or obstructing justice, and the charges were dropped every time. But I was arrested dozens, at least 24 times in my lifetime for simply interacting with cops, and they don't like me, and I tell them, well, you can go pound sand, and then they arrested me all through my early 20s because there was no camera phone to capture what was going on. So I may have been mean to those cops on that audit, and a lot of people won't like that I was mean to those police, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't called for. Because I think that the people of America have to understand that there is a large swath of us who have been arrested, who have been taken to a dungeon, who have faced criminal charges when no criminal charges should have ever been filed. You know, I was talking to my cousin Chester. Earlier today, and I said to him, because he saw that video where I just tore those cops apart, and I said to him, think about it like this. Think about the pharmaceutical companies. It's a great big monopoly on chemicals. Everybody loves chemicals, right? Everybody loves coffee, weed, Adderall, painkillers, you name a chemical. And the people of America, they like it, and they take it, and they enjoy it. And what the big pharmaceutical companies, going back to the 19th, what they have done is created a monopoly on the very top 1% of people who can sell chemicals, and they get to make all the profit, they get to make all the money. And if you involve yourself in the chemical game of selling marijuana or cocaine or a chemical that somebody wants, then you are a criminal. But the very top 1% can sell Oxycontin and create the biggest epidemic in American history of people dying from Oxycontin. But if you involve yourself in the chemical game, you're a criminal. But if you're the top 1% and you're super rich, you can create the Harrison Act of 1914 that says you have to have a prescription for your chemicals, and then you're a criminal if you sell a chemical that someone wants to buy from you. You're a criminal. Do you ever think about it in that way? I mean, and maybe, you son of a... I knew that eventually was going to happen anyway. But then if you think about it, when you go back to the 1914 Harrison Act right here, you say, why was the 1914 Harrison Act enacted to begin with? Why was the 1914 Harrison Act created at all whatsoever? And what is the 1914 Harrison Act? Okay, what is the 1914 Harrison Act? Can anybody here tell me what that act is? Someone pop a link right down here for me, if you would, please, in the comment section. What is the 1914 Harrison Act, and why does it matter today? Is the 1914 Harrison Act, is it still in effect today? Why, yes, it is. The 1914 Harrison Act is still in functionality today. This act is still law today from 1914. What is this, 2022? So you're looking at 107 years ago, they had passed the Harrison Act, and what happened then? What happened next? You had to get, marijuana was banned. Cannabis was banned in 1914. Well, why was it banned? It was banned so that the big industry guys, Lamont DuPont and William Randolph Hearst and John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Mellon and Harry Anslinger could have a monopoly on the chemical business. That's why the 1914 Harrison Act was created at all whatsoever. That's why it was invented, because of these guys here. They invented the 1914 Harrison Act. Did you know that the number one killer of man in America today is drugs? Did you know that? The number one killer of Americans today is drugs. But in 1914, they passed the Harrison Act, so you had to get your prescription from the doctor. And how well is that working out? How well is that working out? How well is it going? I mean, how well is it going? Just riddle me that, Batman. How well is it going? The 1914 Harrison Act made it so you had to get your chemicals prescribed from a doctor, but now don't the doctor's offices get visited by the pharmaceutical reps? Don't the pharmaceutical reps go to the doctor's office and say, hey, here's this new chemical, and by the way, if you sell enough of it, we'll give you a bonus? Isn't that what's happening? So that means the very top 1%, the exact same thing happened in 1914, is still happening today. That the top 1% get to enjoy the sale of chemicals, but everybody else, if you do the sales, then you're going to end up in a dungeon. You're going to go to a dungeon. You're going to go to a dungeon, and you're going to burn in the eternal pit of fire forever and ever, and death becomes you. And you, your soul, your spirit, your being, everything about you is put into a cave. Everything about you is black. We don't talk about Cousin Tony anymore because Cousin Tony lives in the dungeon, top 1%. And so Cousin Tony's in jail now. We don't talk about Cousin Tony. And then when Cousin Tony gets out, he doesn't have a job. He can't be employed because he tried to sell the same chemicals that the top 1% sell with a prescription. So Cousin Tony, we don't talk about Cousin Tony. Cousin Tony lives in a dungeon. Don't talk about Tony. You don't want to bring up Cousin Tony at the Christmas party. Don't talk about Tony. You're going to make Aunt Beth upset. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Look at the system we've created. Look at the prison system we've created. Look at the prison system we've created. Look at the prison system that we have created 100% around chemicals, and the number one killer of Americans today is drugs. How is it working out? How is it going? How's it going making chemicals illegal and punishing Tony and putting Tony in the dungeon? How's it going? How are things going? And I tore those cops a new a-hole. I tore those cops apart, right? You saw me walk up and say, you're maggots. You're the worst. You're a shame. Your family's a disgrace. Because what those maggots don't know is that in 2 generations, your grandson, your granddaughter will deny that there was a cop in their family, because one day we're going to look at this and say, this is disgusting. You locked them in a dungeon and you didn't educate them. And then when they get out, the recidivism rate is 90%. And why is it? Because you locked them in a dungeon, and the whole time they were in there, they were punished. They were degraded. They were strip searched. Don't look at me. Look at the line. Walk down the line. They put your head on the line. They smash your head into the wall. They give you food that's trash that rats wouldn't eat. They don't have a rat problem there because the rats won't eat that dog shit food they're serving. But it's me. I'm mean to cops. And this is the prison system right here from 1968, 1971, the war on drugs. Number one killer of man today is drugs. Number one killer of Americans today is drugs. and we put Tony in the dungeon, and then we forget he exists. You can't talk about cousin Tony. Don't bring him up, dude. Don't bring him up. You're going to make everybody upset. What did Tony do? He tried to do what the elites are doing and create and buy and sell chemicals like Lamont DuPont, William Randolph Hearst, John D. Rockefeller, Harry Anslinger, Andrew Mellon, so that they could control all the chemical money. All the chemical money goes to the top. And oh, by the way, don't post anything on your YouTube about the current bird flu going around, because if you do, your video will get taken down. But don't worry, it's not a strike. It's not a strike. You just can't spread medical misinformation. Really? Is it medical misinformation? Because those 2 California doctors that came out in May of 2020, every word they said has been proven to become true. Every word those 2 doctors in California said has come out to be true. They were the first 2 people banned from YouTube for spreading medical misinformation. But you're not allowed to enjoy the profits of the chemical industry, or you go to a dungeon. And in the state of California, we've legalized marijuana so that the government can tax the holy hell out of it. And you know what? We have a bigger black market for marijuana in California than any other state in America. The #1 black market for marijuana is in the state of California, right here. #1 black market in the state of in America is in the state of California. And why is it? How come it is? Because we put so much tax dollars on the marijuana that it's unaffordable. The government's making out like a bandit. Where's the money going, Lebowski? Where's the money that the government is making off taxing Californians for buying marijuana? Where's the money going? Where's it going? Who's getting that money? Who's spending that money? What are we doing with it? But don't you sell chemicals, because if you sell chemicals, you're cutting in on Big Pharma's business. Did you ever think about it in that way? Did you ever think about it in those terms? You're not allowed to sell a chemical because only the top 1% are allowed to sell chemicals. If you sell a chemical, you're going to end up like Tony in the dungeon. You're going to the dungeon with Tony. You sold a chemical. That's only for elitists. Only elitists get to make the profit off selling a chemical. Not you, Tony. Not you, bro. You go to a freaking dungeon. And when you're in the dungeon, you think the pigs out here on the streets are bad? The rat pig monsters in the dungeon are even worse, bro. Are even worse. And you don't have any recourse because an unelected Supreme Court that's in charge of our rights, they passed the 1980 case of Johnson versus Glick that says that if you're beat up or hurt in the dungeon, there's very limited chance for you to get justice under a 1983 civil rights violation. What did you do? You sold the chemicals that Lamont DuPont, William Randolph Hearst, Harry Anslinger, John D. Rockefeller made sure you couldn't sell. You're not allowed to sell chemicals. They set up the 1914 Harrison Act. It's still law today. It's right here. Have you ever read it? Have you ever looked at it? Have you ever looked it up, the 1914 Harrison Act? I double dog dare you. I double dog dare you. Sweatshirts and t-shirts are in. I got double XL. I've got XL sweatshirts are in. XL sweatshirts are in. The sweatshirts are 60. The t-shirts are 35. If you want one, you got to send me an email to DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. DeleteLawZ with a Z. DeleteLawZ. You see it on all the videos I make. DeleteLawZ@gmail.com. If you want a sweatshirt or t-shirt, if you already purchased a t-shirt from me 2 weeks ago when I sold 17 before I had them in stock, dude, you funded this batch of t-shirts. Let me get you your t-shirt, especially if you already sent me money for a t-shirt. And that's Jody Fox, Gilbert, Brian Daniel, Rob Stevens, Breaking the Flaw, I think got a t-shirt. Make sure you guys hit me up. Make sure you guys hit me up if you want a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. These won't be here more than today. By the end, they'll be gone. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I got so many people asking me for sweatshirts. You have no idea. I only have one size right now, XL. The next batch, I'm going to take all the money and I'm just going to put it into buying more t-shirts and sweatshirts. We have to spread the message of Overturn Terry. We have to spread the message of Overturn Terry. The posters are available on DeleteLawZ. You can get this exact poster on DeleteLawZ.com. Yeah, you can get it. Someone just asked if you can get this poster. It's on my website, DeleteLawZ. I should do more. I should do more promo. You get it. It's DeleteLawZ with a Z. DeleteLawZ with a Z. Hey, Dr. Vegetable, thank you. I appreciate that. I remember sending your poster out. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, so, you know, it's a scam. It's a scam. The whole pharmaceutical industry is a scam. We saw that with Joe Rogan giving the actual recipe for how you don't get deathly sick on the bird flu. And the video I put up from Tim Dillon's podcast, where he had Joe Rogan on his show, was taken down by YouTube. But he proved it. Every person who used the concoction of the Ivor and of the monoclonal antibodies, right? They didn't get deathly sick. Not at all. Tim Dillon, hey, Tim Dillon, love your show, brother. Tim Dillon is a great, big, fat, out-of-shape guy. I'm not being mean. My whole family, a lot of my family are great, big, fat, out-of-shape people. That doesn't mean I don't love my family or I'm fat-shaming anybody. I'm telling you, Tim Dillon has premorbidities. And Tim Dillon took the prescription that Mr. Rogan created. And you know what happened? He didn't get deathly sick at all. Matter of fact, it barely touched him, just like it didn't Joe. So everything Joe has said has come to be true. Meanwhile, though, if you get sick, just sit and wait until you got to be on a ventilator, and then we'll worry about it, right? And so who does that? It's the big pharma industry created by Harry Anslinger, by Lamont DuPont, and the 1914 Harrison Act. And now the big technology companies are living in a technocracy. That's fascism, where Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok will limit your speech in the name of what the government wants. That's what's happening right now. That's called a technocracy. 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 A technocracy. A technocracy. So, if you guys want a sweatshirt, make sure you hit me up. Don't wait. Don't wait. Listen, and to be honest with you, I want to sell them all today. I don't want inventory here. I don't want to wonder if I haven't shipped someone's t-shirt. I want it gone. Like just having Omira's t-shirt, I had 2 smalls, but I didn't want to go stand in line at the post office for 2 smalls. And like, it's just like, plus I'm just trying to get a lot done. I want to sell all of these t-shirts and sweatshirts today and then buy another batch. And then in 2-3 weeks when they come, we'll do it again. We'll do it again. So that's what I'd like to do. That's what I'd like to do. So, you know, once again, you know, if we just focus on the numbers, you don't have to be a constitutional law scholar to say, oh my God, in 1968, we created the Omnibus Crime Bill. We didn't, the legislators did. The Omnibus Crime Bill in 1968, weeks after Terry versus Ohio, where they criminalized guns. And then in 71, Nixon declares war on drugs. And then the prison industry just takes off like a rocket. There's so many people in prison that Ronald Reagan has to start the for-profit prison industry. Yeah, the for-profit prison industry. It's DeleteLawZ at Gmail. You guys can reach me here if you want to get a poster or a sweatshirt or right there. It's DeleteLawZ at Gmail. This is how you reach me. DeleteLawZ at Gmail. You can buy the poster and the ebook just straight through the website, but sweatshirts and t-shirts you got to go through my email, DeleteLawZ at gmail.com. If you already bought one, then make sure you hit me up and say, yo, dude, I already sent you money. And then I'll check the Venmo and Cash App. Yep, boom, boom, and then I'll send it off to you, okay? So DeleteLawZ at Gmail. These are my cup of coffee funds. If you learn anything at all from me, feel free to buy me a cup of coffee. God bless. God bless. Take a screenshot, take a screenshot, take a screenshot, and we're going to go back to the lecture. Okay, cool. So, you know, and as long as you and I continue to allow this, as long as you and I continue to blindly close our eyes and go, yeah, Pfizer can run the government. Pfizer can run our entire government. Special interest groups can elect every single legislator. As long as we continue to have all the money in politics, and all the money in politics is going to stem from the 2010 case. Do I have it on here? I'll make sure I have it on here. It's not on there. It should. I don't know why it's not on there. I told you there's some things about this poster I'm not happy with, but the 2010 case of the Citizens United versus the Federal Election Committee, FEC, the Federal Election Committee, and that Citizens United. That's where a bunch of rich super billionaires who represent the pharmaceutical industry, they got together in 2010 and they created Citizens United so that the pharmaceutical industry and the big industries like the food companies could have an absolute monopoly on putting people in place, like the fossil fuel companies. What they'll do is you take a representative in Nebraska, and the person who we vote in to the Congress, they're voted in Nebraska. They're a member of the House of Representatives, but that guy from Nebraska is totally funded by Big Pharma or by Big Fossil Fuels or by General Mills or by Quaker. You see, depends on which city, state they live in and what district they're running in. Like in Arizona right now, you got an ex-cop who's in District 23 who's writing the body cam footage laws, who's writing bills that you can't film police, which isn't going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. We're going to go to a civil war if you guys don't back off. The policing in our country's dog doo-doo. It's dog doo-doo, okay? So if you guys already bought a sweatshirt from me or a t-shirt from me, if you already bought a t-shirt from me, because this is my first batch of sweatshirts ever, if you already bought a t-shirt from me, please make sure you send me a DM or you send me email to DeleteLawZ@gmail so that I can send you your t-shirt. I want to make sure I get these out tomorrow. I want to ship all these tomorrow. I want to do one run and be done and move forward and not have to do it anymore. So the point is, though, is that we have a dungeon system today because of big pharmaceuticals. The big pharmaceutical industry created the dungeon system that we live in today. I mean, I've given several lectures on this, but when Harry Anslinger colluded with Lamont DuPont to criminalize chemicals, marijuana, hemp, they began the system of creating propaganda around chemicals, that chemicals are bad, but everybody likes chemicals. So only the top 1% can sell chemicals, and if you don't buy from them, well, then you go to prison. I mean, this is pretty simple stuff. This is pretty simple stuff. This isn't rocket science. This isn't deep analysis. This is going, well, the war on drugs is right there. Okay, let's just put a stick right here. So there's the war on drugs right there, and then there's the prison system afterwards. You know, I realize that I do know a lot of information about the constitutional laws and about the foundation of our country. So you would consider me somewhat an expert in that field, but I'm not an expert in math. I'm not an expert in math. I'm not an expert in parabolas. I'm not an expert in parabolas at all whatsoever. I'm just saying the war on drugs is right here with Nixon in 71, and then there's the prison system right after. Is there any coalition? Is there any connection? Is there any synergy here between the war on drugs being created by Dick Nixon here, and then right after that Reagan creates a for-profit prison industry and all of his buddies invest in it, and then look what happens. Look what happens. Is there any correlation between chemicals being criminalized here and then the prison industry doing this? Is there any relationship to that? And the number one killer of Americans today is what? Drugs. The number one killer is drugs. So how good is it locking up Tony, Jose, Tyrone, Jacob, Bill, Sarah, Tina, Barbara? How good is it locking up our friends and family for chemicals? How is it? How is it? How are things going? How are things going? How are things going? My dad spent 20 years in prison. My dad was in prison for 20 years for being a cocaine dealer. You know what? Good thing they locked up my dad. Good thing they did that. Good thing you did that. Thank God you saved us all by locking up my father. Number one killer of Americans today in America. Number one killer of all Americans today is what? Drugs. Good thing you locked up my dad, government. Good thing you did that. Man, good thing you invaded Colombia. Good thing you guys completely stole the Panama Canal. Good thing we did that. Good thing. Because no one else can do anything in the world but our government. We're the only government that can do anything. No other governments can accomplish anything. Like China doesn't have better buildings than we do. Like China doesn't have a better infrastructure than we do. And I'm not honking the communist horn here. I'm not for communism. If you follow me, you know that. But what I'm trying to say is I'm giving you the example of what Biden talks crap about China. Trump talks crap about China. They're way ahead of us in a lot of areas. So other governments are capable is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In all across the world, we keep on locking people in a dungeon because they want to sell the same things the top 1% want to sell because they want to make some money too. But unless you're in the top 1%, you don't get to sell a chemical in the United States of America without heading to the dungeon, and then your family doesn't talk about you at Christmas. Don't talk about Tony. You're going to make Aunt Judith upset. Thanks, Mr. Freedom. I'm with you, dude, 100%. You know, don't talk about Tony in the dungeon. Don't talk about him. You're going to make Aunt Beth so upset when you talk about Tony in the dungeon. What did he do? He sold a chemical. That son of a mother. You sold a chemical? You are the worst. And then what do they say? Now tell me if I'm wrong here. How many times do you hear them say, oh, he's a drug dealer? How many times have you heard the negative connotation with the term, he's a drug dealer? How many times have you heard that? Oh, you mean the big pharmaceuticals aren't drug dealers too? They're not drug dealers too? They're just not doing it through channels that they set up for only themselves? Through the 1914 Harrison Act? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying. That's all I'm saying. We got Tony in the dungeon for selling weed or selling coke. Everybody wants the coke. Everybody wants the weed he's selling. But he goes to the dungeon and the number one killer of man is fentanyl. The number one killer of Americans today is fentanyl. Tony didn't do that. Tony didn't do that. He didn't do that. Tony didn't do that. Oh, you're a drug dealer, so you're terrible. He's a drug dealer. Keep him away from the schools. Because as you know, everybody who deals drugs, they want to sell to 10-year-olds. That's what they're trying to do, right? Think about that for a second. I don't care what drugs you're dealing. How fast do you want to sell your drugs to a 10-year-old? You're not. You don't want to sell drugs to a 10-year-old. You don't. There's a fraction of people who would sell drugs to a 10-year-old. But what do they say? Keep him away from the elementary schools. Yeah, because once you're a drug dealer, then you for sure are going to sell your drugs to elementary school kids. If that's what your real goal is. When you're selling chemicals, you know, you're thinking, are they in elementary school? Are they in elementary school? Because that's who I really want to sell to. That's who I really want to sell to, are the school children, right? What a load of crock of poo. What a crock of poo. It is such garbage. It is such a lie. Sweatshirts are in. Sweatshirts are in. I got a dozen of these. I got 2 dozen XL t-shirts. I have 2 dozen XL t-shirts. I have 2 dozen XL t-shirts, and I have a dozen double XL. So I have 2 dozen XL t-shirts in, and I have a dozen XL t-shirts in. And then anybody else who already hit me up, please don't hesitate to let me know that you bought a t-shirt from me and I need to ship it to you. I'm going to go through and look through my Cash App and Venmo, but it would be easier if you just sent me an email to DeleteLawZ@gmail. Or like, yo, dude, I bought a t-shirt from you 2 weeks ago. Here's my address. Can you ship that to me? That would make it a lot easier for me because I'm not a t-shirt salesman. I'm a constitutional law guy. This is what I do. This is where I live, is in this little area right in here. Like right in here, like in this general vicinity. So I mean, we're just living in a complete and utter idiocracy. We have criminalized guns and drugs, and in every state where they criminalize guns the most, it's the most murder and death. And across America, we've criminalized drugs, every single kind of drug, every level of drug. We got a penalty for that drug. We got a penalty for this drug. And the number one killer of all Americans right now is drugs. Do you see what's going on? Do you see what's going on? What did Portugal do? Can anybody do me a favor? Drop the Portugal study in here. Right here. Portugal legalized drugs. Anybody sitting behind your computer right now? Portugal legalized drugs, and put it right here. Put the link. I think it's a 27-year study now. Portugal legalized all drugs. Portugal legalized crack, heroin, cocaine. They legalized everything. And they have a tiny fraction of a drug problem. They have this big of a drug problem. Portugal study. Someone post it right there for me. Someone post it so that when people are watching this later, they'll get to see. Post it right there. Post it right there. Post it. That Portugal did a legalization of all drugs. Only mods can post links. So T-Roy is one of my most loyal supporters and understands, but he's not real great on the computer just yet. So, oh, dude, our founding fathers would be rolling over in their graves. Just the term law enforcers, just the term law enforcement, just that term alone would have our founding fathers rolling over in our graves. The entire principle of America is based on liberty first by John Locke. The entire principle, the entire, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong word. The entire purpose, principle, basics, fundamentals of America is liberty first, based off John Locke's theory of natural law. His famous quote, liberty is far-reaching, liberty first. That's the principles of John Locke's theory of law. And we're so million miles away from that now that it's just incredible to me. Incredible how far we've come. So listen, I don't know if people are gonna hate that video that I put out I really can't really think about that. I have to be genuine myself. I have to be genuine to the others who have been railroaded and drugged through the dungeon system. I don't know how many people are going to enjoy that video that I put out today. I think a lot of people are going to consider that I'm mean and rude and disrespectful and all those things, but I can't really think about that. I can't think about that and I can't worry about it. I got to be honest. I got to be honest. And so I put that video out because I just wanted to be honest. Because when I see cops, I literally don't feel any empathy for them because they just crush people. They just hurt people and they ruin people. And so I put that video out today. I know some people are going to want to, unsubscribe from the channel and not like me and say that chili guy, he may be a constitutional law scholar, but boy, he's not helping by being so mean to cops. Well, last I checked, going to the dungeon never helped anybody. Putting people in a dungeon doesn't improve the quality of life in America. Charging people with a bunch of felonies when they are not a felon, when there's no victim. But Tony in the dungeon, there was no victims. The drugs that Tony sold that he ended up in the dungeon for, there was no fentanyl in any of the chemicals he sold. There was no bad stuff in the marijuana he sold, but he's a felon now, a felon. Meaning he can't get a job on a campus, he can't get a student loan. He's a felon, he's an F, a failure. And we charge this man with a felony and there's no victims. There's not a single victim. There's no victims. No, matter of fact, everybody that bought drugs from Tony loved him. They miss Tony. Where's Tony? And so when I made that video and I put that video out today, I just had to be honest. Those guys take Tony to the dungeon. Tony's the nicest guy in the world. So there it is. If I'm not going to kowtow around and dance around whether or not I'm going to lose subscribers or people aren't going to like what I do or what I say. I'm not. I'm going to be genuine to my heart, to my feelings, to the path in life that I have carved, that I am living, that I am a part of, that I am the observer in. How many times have you been in a situation and you heard yourself go, dude, that's up, right? You're the observer in your own life. You are the observer, right? You're the observer. I remember one time I was standing there and some girl had bit me. She was just trying to get my attention, but she bit me. Literally, she bit me. And I heard my mouth go, man, don't bite me. And then I turned to her and said, hey, what are you doing? You're biting me. She was just trying to flirt, but she bit me. The observer in me first observed that I had been bitten. Hey, someone's biting me. And then I turned and said, hey, what are you doing biting me, chick? Right? That's what I'm trying to say. I can't change the observation of going to the dungeon over 24 times. I can't reverse the no-knock raid on my apartment from BS information from a confidential informant who they never told me who it was. I can't erase those memories from my mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't like it. I'll miss you. Take care. So there it is. Make sure you guys hit me back. I'll bite her back. Make sure you guys hit me back. If you want a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, please don't leave me with any stock. I don't want any stock. By the way, this list of people who I was showing earlier, this list of people, I don't have your contact information. I was going by just your username. This list of people who bought the 16 t-shirts before, I don't know who you are. Obviously, I know Amira and I know the other small t-shirt, but make sure you send me a, see, I can't remember the other small t-shirt. I don't know who the time is now. That's a username. I don't know who you are. If you sent me money for a t-shirt, if you sent me $35, you got to hit me back because I don't know who you are. Breaking the Flaw. I remember Breaking the Flaw. Send me your full mailing address. Make sure I have your information. Brian Hif, Brian HIF. I don't know who you are. If you bought a t-shirt from me, especially if you already gave me money, please make sure that you reach out and get a hold of me. Okay. Okay, so I'll take some questions now because I got 6 minutes left before 1 hour. I'm doing my best to say, Omira, send me your information. Educate now on the mobile, look up sociology. Let me just clue you in real quick. I'm a sociology major. I wrote a book called Defining the Code Amongst Men. It was a 10-year study on hypersexual situations within social cliques. I'm very, very well versed in sociology, very well. I wrote a clinical textbook on sociology. So I've seen your comments a few times now. I just wanted to address you because you put the same comment up so many times. The very first book I wrote, the first textbook I wrote, the very first company that I ran that people gave me $500,000 to run this company, right? That very first one was a sociological company based on sociology. So I hope I got to you, bro. I've seen you put like 14 comments up about sociology. Yeah, I understand it real well. I don't teach it though, because that's not my area of expertise to teach, but this is. So, okay, what's the question, Jay Rollins? Yeah, hit the like button, you guys. There's 100 people in here. You guys reach over and hit your like button. Hit your like button. Just reach over and hit the like button if you would, please. Just reach over and hit your like button. Hit your like button, and then when I post this, make sure you drop a comment. Oh, you can't talk about it, our family. The rest of my family is shit because they turned their back on a good man. You see what she just wrote, or he just wrote, Red Wing? Miss my uncle. We can't talk about him and our family. The rest of the family has turned their back on him. That's what happens when you're a drug dealer. You're a drug dealer. You mean the government can be the biggest drug dealer, but you can't be. Okay, got it. Got it. So make sure if you guys bought a t-shirt from me, hit me up. Hit me up. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? I'm going to ship these t-shirts tomorrow, so get back to me. Thanks, I appreciate it. Title 18, U.S. 241, 242. That comes from the 1866 Civil Rights Act. He asked, where does this come from? So Title 18, Section 241 and 242, that comes from the 1866 Civil Rights Act after slavery was abolished with the 13th Amendment. And then it's going to be rewritten again, the exact same thing, in the 1871 Enforcement Act, often called the Ku Klux Klan Act, is where we get Title 18, Section 242. So that's where that comes from. That comes from slavery being abolished and then black people not being treated equally. And that's how we have U.S. Code 18, Section 241 and 242. That's where that comes from. That comes from when, and then I think it was Ulysses Grant. I believe he's going to suspend habeas corpus in 1871. And I don't have a lot of this stuff on the graph. My volume's going to be killed for 1 second, sorry. I thought I put this on Do Not Disturb. I was pretty sure that I did. I'm going to start a petition pretty soon here. I'm going to start a petition that we can all join. I'm going to start a petition here pretty soon. So that's going to happen very, very soon. Very soon. So, but that's where it comes from, U.S. 18, Section 241 and 242. The consent of the governed has to do with the social contract, which I talk about ad nauseum. I'm sure people are tired of hearing about the social contract. Consenting of the governed means that we are living under a social contract, that we all agree to live under a set of laws so that it's not a war of all against all, and that's from Thomas Hobbes. And so that's what the social contract is said. Okay, I got it, bro. I got it. I got it. It was true, though. It was true. It was true. He was the beta male, and he knew it. Yeah, there's the social contract by M. Star. The consenting of the governed means that we are willing to live under a set of laws as long as the government provides 4 basic things: protection, warmth, food, shelter. That we're willing to live under a series of laws if the government provides basic structure. And so that's what the social contract is. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. So, well, when you're born, unfortunately, and here's the downside of the social contract, when you're born, you are born into the social contract whether you want to be or not. You don't get a choice as to whether or not you are born into the social contract. You are born into it, and you will adhere to the laws, or you will be arrested by this government. So that's where it is. That's where it is. That's where it is. Well, so just so you know, the way you opt out of the social contract is to claim to be a sovereign citizen. And that means that you are opting out of the social contract, and then that creates its own different set of problems for you. You can be put on the terrorist watch list. I mean, all kinds of things can happen to you. All kinds of things can happen to you. Really, really bad. So you want to be careful about declaring being a sovereign citizen, because if you do, then you can be put on a terrorist watch list, which means you can't fly, you can't drive. You know, you can say you're traveling down the road versus being a citizen driving down the road. There's all kinds of things people say. I didn't see your question, Jay. Didn't see your question, Jay. So there's all kinds of people. Yeah, DeleteLawZ at Gmail. If you got a t-shirt from me, send me an email. If you want a sweatshirt, I only have a dozen of these sweatshirts in. They're going to go fast. So make sure that you hit me up right away and let me know if you want a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. So yeah. Yep. So, you know, our entire government is based on jurisprudence, and that is a theory of law. And that's what we live under is jurisprudence today. Okay? That's what we live under is jurisprudence today. So cool. Do I have any other questions? I'll be happy to answer any other questions. If not, I've been here for an hour and I'm gonna package up these t-shirts. If I have your address and I can find you in the Venmo or Cash App, I'll ship your t-shirt tomorrow. If you don't get back to me within 24 to 48 hours, I'm gonna sell that t-shirt because I don't want stock. I want to get rid of all these t-shirts. Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions? Nope, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it. I've been in an octagon. I've been in an octagon quite a few times. Lots and lots of times. I've got I have extra large and double XL in. I have extra large and double XL. Those are the t-shirt sizes I have in. The sweatshirts are XL. And this is how it fits on me. And as you know, I'm pretty beefy. So, you know, yeah, I'm about ready to go eat some food for sure. For sure. Are you aware of any cases? Yes, the Institute of Justice has it. I'm going to break that video down. Okay. Thank you, Jay. Did you appreciate that, Jay? Okay. Thanks, M Star. Thanks, T Roy, for moderating. If you guys have any other questions, don't hesitate to hit me up. I'll answer any questions I can't remember. I can't give you legal advice. I can tell you the history of law, and I can tell you the case law, and I can tell you the statute. I can tell you all kinds of things, but I can't give you direct legal advice because they'll try to put me in jail. They'll try to get me if I give you legal advice. So thank you guys. Yeah, Tim, hit me up if you want to do a phone call. Hit me up if you want to do a phone call. Thanks a lot. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. So we are going to continue down the line. All right, guys. Let me know. It's DeleteLawZ at Gmail. J. Rowland. DeleteLawZ at Gmail. Okay, Jezerman, send me an email. DeleteLawZ at gmail.com, and I'll get it. There's the email right there by M Star. If you want to get my email, it is right there. She just put it M Star and just put the email address. It's somewhere. I mean, it's going to be here or here, wherever you're watching. Hit your like button, guys. Hit your like button if you would, please. Yeah, okay, I can do that. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Anybody has any more questions? Don't hesitate to reach out, okay? Anyway, thanks for your support. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next live, okay? Nice talking to you. I'll see you soon. Later.